We've all had those moments where we're staring at a math test and our brain just decides to go on a permanent vacation. Usually that just means you fail 10th grade algebra. But when you are a rocket scientist at NASA, a little rounding error can lead to a very expensive firework display. In 1998, NASA launched the Mars Climate Orbiter. Its mission? To study the Martian atmosphere and act as a relay for future missions. This thing was the peak of human engineering, until it wasn't. After traveling for nearly 10 months and covering over 416 million miles, that's over 67 billion centimeters for my metric fellows, the orbiter reached Mars. But instead of settling into a nice, cozy orbit, it just disappeared.
Hey, Bob, did we use metric or imperial units for the thruster data?
Imperial? Why?
Because the ground software is definitely expecting newtons, Bob, not pound force.
Oh.
Yeah, one team used the imperial system and the other used metric. Because of that tiny little miscommunication, the orbiter got too close to the atmosphere and likely disintegrated. Total cost of that math error? $193 million in 1999, which is roughly $360 million in today's piggies. All because someone forgot to carry the one. In 1859, a guy named Thomas Austin was living in Australia and feeling a bit homesick for England. He missed the vibes, the tea, and mostly, he missed shooting at things in his backyard. So, he decided to import 24 wild rabbits so he could have a little hunting party. He famously said, "The introduction of a few rabbits could do little harm." Famous last words, Tom. See, Australia is a paradise for rabbits. It's got plenty of grass, no natural predators, and the weather is great for, well, doing what rabbits do best. Within 10 years, those 24 bunnies turned into millions. By the 1920s, there were an estimated 10 billion rabbits hopping around the continent. They weren't just cute little fluff balls anymore. They were long-eared locusts. They ate every green thing in sight, leading to massive soil erosion and the extinction of several native plant and animal species. Australia spent millions building rabbit-proof fences that stretched for thousands of miles, but the rabbits just laughed and dug under them. It remains one of the most devastating ecological whoopsies in history. If you think the rabbit situation was bad, wait until you hear about Mao Zedong's war on birds. In 1958, as part of the Great Leap Forward, the Chinese government identified 4 pests that needed to be deleted: rats, flies, mosquitoes, and sparrows. The logic was simple. Sparrows eat grain. If we kill the sparrows, we have more grain. Easy, right? They mobilized the entire population. People would bang pots and pans for hours so the sparrows couldn't land, eventually causing the birds to fall out of the sky from sheer exhaustion.
Look, I got another one. No more birds eating our rice.
Great job, comrade. Now, what's that weird buzzing sound coming from the fields?
Turns out, sparrows don't just eat grain, they eat insects, specifically locusts. Without the sparrows to keep them in check, the locust population absolutely exploded. They swarmed the country, eating everything in their path. This triggered a massive ecological collapse that led to the Great Chinese Famine, where an estimated 15 to 45 million people lost their lives, all because they tried to fix a food problem by killing the things that protected the food. After the absolute nightmare of World War I, France decided they never wanted to experience Trenchfoot Simulator ever again. So, they spent a fat stack of cash, about 3 billion francs, which was a massive chunk of their national budget, building the Maginot Line. This wasn't just a fence. It was a 280-mile-long mega-fortress filled with underground railways, air conditioning, state-of-the-art hospitals, and retractable turrets. It was supposed to be the ultimate no-entry sign for the German army. But there was one tiny, teeny-weeny little problem. The line stopped at the Belgian border. Why? Because the French thought the Ardennes forest was impenetrable. They figured no army could possibly move tanks through those thick woods and hills.
Sir, the Germans are here.
Excellent. Tell the men at the Maginot Line to get ready.
Sir, they aren't at the line. They just drove around it.
In 1940, the German army did exactly what the French thought was impossible. They drove their girthy tanks right through the Ardennes, bypassed the most expensive wall in history, and captured Paris in about 6 weeks. The Maginot Line became the world's most expensive, spooky-dooky haunted house, a masterpiece of engineering that was rendered completely useless because someone forgot that trees aren't actually walls. In the 1920s, a chemist named Thomas Midgley Jr. had a brilliant idea. Cars back then had a nasty habit of knocking, that loud, annoying pinging sound in the engine. Midgley discovered that adding tetraethyl lead to gasoline made the engines run smooth as butter. Despite knowing that lead was a literal neurotoxin that makes people go cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, the industry pushed it anyway. For decades, every time someone drove their car, they were spraying microscopic lead particles into the air. Studies now suggest that leaded gas lowered the IQ of the entire global population for decades and might be linked to a massive spike in violent crime during the 60s and 70s. But Midgley wasn't done. He also invented CFCs for refrigerators, which proceeded to punch a giant hole in the ozone layer. One historian noted that Midgley had more impact on the atmosphere than any other single organism in Earth's history. Talk about a bad day at the office. Now we're all just sitting here, clenching our buttholes and hoping the next brilliant invention doesn't accidentally delete the species. Wild, right?